Hotep brothers and sisters, save the date. On September the 11th, we'll be in Harriet Tubman City, Baltimore, Maryland, and you'll have a chance to feel and see and touch some of our very strong scholar warriors involved in the highest level of intellectual warfare, taking back our history, our culture, and naming it and claiming it. And I'm speaking about my partners, Dr. Wade Nobles, scholar par excellence, one of the founders of the Melanin Consortium. Now he's at the level of dealing with the traditional cultures of African people. His latest book is The Island of Mimes, M-E-M-E-S, The Unfinished Revolution in Haiti.
He is a Voodoo Mambo priest. His partner, the major person that helped him in sparking the Haitian Revolution, was Cecile Fatima, sister. She's the one that invoked these voodoo spirits. That's why I'm going to say voodoo spirits, y'all get used to it. It ain't no scary stuff.
Let's talk about
this is the manipulation of the universal powers of the world that invoke those energies to come forth. And so there were actually 4 major voodoo spirits that were invoked in this ceremony that sparked the Haitian Revolution. There was Papa Legba, Dambala, Ursula Dante, and Simbi. And Simbi is a Congo spirit. That's a Bantu Congo. Keep coming back. In fact, the largest population of Africans enslaved in Hispaniola that later became Haitian was Congo. Congo. So we need to look at our stuff. And so Bookman says, in this ceremony, remember there's a contestation. African way of knowing, European way of knowing. Bookman says in his prayer, the God who created the sun, which gives us light, who rouses the waves and rules the storms, though hidden in the clouds, he watches us. He sees all that the white man does. The God of the white man inspires him with crimes, but our God calls upon us to do good works. Our God, this thunder and lightning going on, I hope you all see this. This thunder and lightning going on. The sister's doing a machete around her head. The brothers all we're getting ready to throw down. See, at this moment in time, he says, our God who is good to us orders us to revenge our wrongs. He will direct our arms and us. Throw away the symbol of the God of the whites, who has so often caused us to weep, and listen to the voice of liberty which speaks to the hearts of us all. He's inspiring. This is Martin Luther King. You know, just an inspirational thought. When he said the inspirational thought is because I'm making a choice. In the Western narrative or what my Bantu mind tells me. All right?
And of course, my partner at the City University of New York for 40 years, Professor James Small, who had his heavy introduction in terms of the struggle in South Carolina, but it reached another height when he was with Malcolm X's sister Ella Collins, when she was trying to carry on the legacy of Malcolm.
History is a clock that people use to tell their time of day. It is the compass that they use to find themselves on the map of human geography. It tells them where they are and what they are. Now that may seem simple when y'all think, oh, you know all of that, Professor Small, but you ain't living like you know it. Even you who are in the room today, we supposed to be the conscious crew. But we got the same problem the unconscious crew got. So let's figure out why. So we're just gonna walk through time, but y'all good Christians. And let me give you a little thing about Christianity. I ain't nobody in America. That's why I don't understand why people don't know me well. Nobody in America has beaten up on Christianity like I have. I have been the most brutal. I have been the worst. But that's because I got old and y'all weren't born yet, so y'all wasn't really doing those lectures. I've actually been lecturing for 50 years. So you figure out a lot of stuff on it, right? But if you read the book, if you're a Christian, it is really cool if you study the literature that you say is your guide. Because it's really an African literature. White folks took it and tried to mess with it, but they weren't smart enough to mess it up because they didn't know enough. You understand? They didn't know enough to really mess the Bible up. The Bible is their attempt to tell our story to themselves. And because they conquered us militarily, they gave us their attempt at explaining our story to themselves as our story. And that's why we got to know history so we can learn our story and not his interpretation of our story. That's right.
Now, once we start to work that, economics, politics, and culture will be on our way. It has to work for us as individuals. It has to work for us as family units. It has to work for us as extended families. It has to work for us as organizations and communities. It has to work for us as strategic territorial states and nation states. But we got to have a science. Now, Dr. Jeffries, you say a science of economics, a science of politics, a science of culture? Yes. These are things we already developed. These are things we brought forth and gave to the world. That is at the heart of African culture, which is our great gift to the world. We gave the world culture and civilization. Africans didn't wait in the darkness for Europeans to bring the light, for Arabs to bring the light, for Chinese people to bring the light. Africans conceived of the possibility of developing the light, and they developed it in a very scientific way. They developed economics. The river valley civilizations of the Nile, that's why we have to reclaim them. That's where high culture and civilization was perfected by our people, not for a weekend, not for a month or two or a year, but you're talking about 5,000 to 6,000 to 7,000 years. Before anybody in Europe could read or write, African civilization was thousands of years old. But something has happened so that the knowledge of who and what we are and what we have been and what we can be is such that we're waiting for white folks to do for us. And so circumstances and conditions forced us into a science of economics.
Come on out and hear these brothers join Dr. Leonard Jeffries, the old man by the sea. Dr. Clark has passed on, Dr. Ben has passed on. Those are my master teachers. I sat at their feet. Now I'm still entering my 80th year, carrying on that legacy. So the struggle continues. We're on a victorious path. Knowledge is power, and empowerment of African peoples is African victory. So join us in Baltimore. You have a chance to interact with us in a meaningful way. There'll be a whole host of others there. There'll be books and materials, tapes, and whatnot for you all to purchase. Save the date, September the 11th. It's an important date for me because my father's birthday, and he's left us a long time. He is September the 15th, so that's my father's week. So come on out. Struggle continues, power to our people.